People, I'm back again, and you already know the show at this moment in time, the DG and Turkish show, the Turkish and DG show. What are you telling them, my guy? What are you saying?
I'm good, man. I'm good, fam. You see all the recommendations for the show names you got on the last video?
I can't even cap. I was skimming through a couple of them, and I see a couple good ones, but I didn't sit down and really like write them down and whatnot. That's a task for today still. What name?
We haven't deeped it yet, but that's what we need to do. There's a few good names there. I can't even lie, man. There's a few good names off the top of my head. Deludish, that was a popular one. Deluded, that was a popular one. Big Facts, that was a popular one. There's a few there. There's a
couple ones still.
We'll get our head around it and make sure it's right, fam. The logo will come, the intro will come, and then we'll start moving.
The rest of it will take place and whatnot. Let me move my laptop, because I'm messing this up, man. But yeah, man, have you been up? What you been saying in this international break this week? You caught any international football in that?
Yeah, obviously Turkey, innit? That's the main thing. Obviously Ireland as well, been a bit of a letdown. But it is what it is, man. International break. I'm looking forward to the Euros. You see this Nations League stuff, I'm not interested, man. Nations League is just friendlies to me. They've just tried to make it more competitive and make it more
spin on it.
Yeah, man, it's just a commercial thing more so than anything. So yeah, it's good to see my national teams in action, but at the end of the day, I'm ready to go to the Euros, man. I was waiting a long time for Turkey to be ready, and they were ready.
And then this happened.
Yeah, COVID F shit up, but it is what it is, man.
Do you think it's silly to play friendlies in this COVID environment? Like all the players are flying over around. Ronaldo's got COVID. However he got that. Do you think it's dumb?
I do, man. I can't lie to you. I think it is, man. I think the pros of not doing it surely. The pros surely outweigh the cons in terms of not doing it. I don't think there's much to the Nations League. I don't think many people are that interested in the Nations League. I think if you was to hold a poll, I think more people will be more interested in making sure the domestic league is prim and proper rather than taking the risk, you know, because how many players have been diagnosed with COVID over the last couple of weeks because of it. So it is peak. I don't even know what's going on with Kieran Tierney. Last I heard, we was appealing that decision, but
apparently, in fact, that we were going to jump ahead a bit, but that's one thing I was scared about. Like you said, apparently we're appealing the decision and whatnot. We need him against City. Arteta's spoken about him today, actually, and give me a sec. I'll actually find my quotes on him, or Arteta's quotes. He said, on Tierney, this is getting very complicated when you are sending players abroad, and obviously you lose control. Some authorities have different regulations to the actual ones in the Premier League. We are still having some discussions with the authorities, and hopefully we'll know more this afternoon. Obviously, then Arteta was pressed on whether he tested positive in the summer. He said, I'm not going to discuss details. And then he was further pressed on if Tierney would actually feature at the weekend. And in short, he said, I hope so. So what do you make of that? Do you think he'll play?
I think he will play, man. I think like that adds to it as well. What you just asked me about international break. It's true. Every country and every little area has their own rules and regulations. Now, when the international break comes, all those rules and regulations from all over the gaff have an effect on us and the league over here. I think Tierney will play only because even if he was in contact, a test had to be done in the last, 10 days. And you can determine then, because they say the virus shows up a week into contracting. So there's been enough time to find out, is he positive or not? If he gets the test today and it comes back negative tomorrow, he should be playing. But at the same time, has he been training? Has he been doing what he needed to do in the last 2 weeks to be ready? That's also another issue. I assume so, but we'll see.
You mentioned an interesting point, and I guess me and you will never know because we don't know Tierney, how much he's kept training and whatnot. But I'm frustrated because, you know, Arsenal have come out and they've said their medical staff has said it's fine. He's had several tests, he's been calm. Him himself, obviously a bit of it is frustration. You want to play, but he said he's not coming to contact too tough. So it does scream that it does feel like Arsenal, the Premier League and the Scottish FA all have different opinions on, you know, if a man should be left out. And surely Arteta wouldn't come out and say, I hope so, and things like this, if slyly he wasn't playing. Maybe there's a bit of gamesmanship, try not to allow Arteta, his former guy and Pep to read him and whatnot.
Probably that, you know, I can't lie to you. It is probably that. I think he knows that it's looking more likely than not. But at the same time, he doesn't want to jump the gun and you know, alert Guardiola, alert other teams that this is potentially a way around this whole quarantine stuff in terms of looking at different things. Because when it came out that he had to be quarantined, I don't think no one thought we can work around this. but it looks like we have been able to. If he's saying he hopes that he does play, it looks like we have been able to. So we'll give other clubs the green light to kind of look into, all right, well, you told us it's quarantine for him, but in reality, we determine it ourselves. And I think with Tierney, that's what we've had to do.
Would you say there's an element of danger? Like, I know if at the end of the day, if he's think he tested negative, he tested negative. But I know a lot of people who know more will say, you know, tests aren't always accurate. One test is more than the other. We're still learning about the virus. Do you think it's dangerous? Like, putting aside football for a sec, do you think he should miss out?
But who knows what this virus is and what it's about? At the end of the day, it doesn't look like it's going to go away. I think it's a flu, isn't it? It's a flu. At the end of the day, even the common flu, the common cold has never gone away. You know, you can take flu jabs, you can do all of this stuff, but it's always an issue. And it causes death year in, year out as well. Obviously, the older you get, the more a normal cold, a normal flu has an effect on you. This pretty much seems along the same lines. Yeah, it has been made out to be a lot more damaging, and it has been made out to be a lot more fierce. But at the end of the day, coupled up with the way the government have handled it over here, and some of the reports we see, because I've had two people that have had one their mum passed away and one their auntie passed away a few months ago. And it was down as COVID, but literally both of them 3 days later get a call saying actually it wasn't COVID, but it's already on the certificate as COVID. And it's like, well,
contributing to the stats and that as COVID.
The numbers are being manipulated in a way that I think there's an agenda behind it as well. Now, I'm not saying the virus isn't real, but I'm saying that there's an agenda behind the way it's being attacked or the way it's being planned around.
You're right, man. Speaking of COVID, obviously condolences to Matteo Guendouzi. Apparently he's contracted it as well. Hopefully it's a speedy recovery for my man. Getting back to football, and if Tierney does miss out, obviously we're a bit spoiled for choice in relation to what we do at left back. You know, Maitland does a little job there. In an ideal world, Tierney be playing at left wing back, and obviously you've got Bukayo Saka. Who gets the nod against City for you? In fact, what's your starting lineup for City? Better yet,
starting lineup. Well, obviously, the goalkeeper picks itself. Leno. I assume we're not going to change to a 4-3-3 immediately with Partey's arrival. So I think we'll go with the back three. I'm going to say if Tierney's fit, it's going to be Tierney, Gabriel, Luiz in some way, shape, or form. Whether Gabriel's at the centre of that or not, we'll see. Fullback wise, you got to go. It's a difficult one, man, because I'm a big fan of Saka. Big fan of Saka.
That's why I asked you, because it's a difficult one. You can't just really pick one man and that's it, sort of thing.
Yeah, so that one is a big. Like Maitland-Niles has performed very well in the big games. I would go with Saka just because it's a natural left-sided player and someone that still provides more on the attack, even from that position, than Maitland-Niles would, and he's still got a head on his shoulders where he knows how to defend. He knows how to, you know, push his man on the wrong foot. He knows how to utilize positions well. So for me, defensively, Maitland-Niles might have the edge in these big games, but I think all round, Saka for me needs to start. I'd start him further up the pitch, but obviously in the back three, there is no position for him further up the pitch. So I'd go with him. Who do you go with left back?
It's a tough one because, like you said, you know, Maitland's probably got a bit more about him defensively. I wouldn't say Saka's suspect defensively, but there are some question marks in certain aspects of his game. I agree with you. I feel, you know, City have a better team than us and whatnot, but I'm not really on this over defending thing. You seen against Leicester and Leeds, you know, you got to go at them. Saka obviously gives us that down that left hand side, and obviously the link up play. So it's a difficult one, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably leaning towards Maitland-Niles, you know, a bit, because I'm just thinking of that stability. But now that you put it to me, and the whole attack of best form of attack being defense, of a defense being attack, sorry, I'm probably leaning towards Saka. I'm not going to lie. If Tierney's fit, I'll probably play him on the left hand. I'm tempted, man. If Tierney's fit, will you play him left wing back or you keep him at centre half? Because I'm a bit, I don't know in relation to that. Like I'm tossing and turning.
Long term, he's definitely our left wing back, left back. You know, whether we do forward. I think short term, he suits that three so much at the moment because he's the one that can kind of, you know, he's that fullback / centre back that most big clubs that have gone to a three have needed. You know, with that like Chelsea, for example. So I think he's important to this. But you're right. I want to see him as left back. You know, his attacking qualities are as good as defensive. So it's all going to take time. We didn't do enough business in the transfer window to go with the formation and lineup that I think Arteta really wants. And so it's going to be another year of who's the best combination. It's going to be another year of who fits best there and what works well for transit. It's going to be another year where we're probably asking more questions than getting answers. I think the answers will start coming if the transfer window next summer is the one we have been crying out for. Then we can start seeing some answers. Right now, it's going to be more questions to come than anything.
More short-term fixes in that, while trying to implement stuff long-term.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. Obviously, you have to do what you have to do at the moment. I think he alluded to it in one of his post-match press conferences where they said to him, are you sacrificing the Arsenal way and playing in this manner? And Arteta said, well, I want to play in a certain way, but with the resources and tools I have, this is in the best. Yeah, it's the best interest of the club, and you can't get any more black and white than that in a sense. I mean, he told us exactly what it is. He wants to do more, but he also told us he doesn't have the resources and tools to do more. So it's going to be another topsy-turvy season.
Right back.
Right back. You know, ideally, I'd probably say Maitland-Niles right back and Saka left.
I kind of set you up, because that's why I asked that, because I knew you was going to say that, because that's something I always think, move over to that. Yeah,
man. I think obviously Maitland-Niles, in terms of right or left back, we can argue all day about what his best position is, ideally, but if we're comparing left and right back, yeah, on the left, he worked because he can hold that winger that can cut in. He's got that because he's right-footed. But at the same time, on attack, it doesn't bode well. So Maitland-Niles, for me, on the right, all round, he gives more to the game than he would on the left. On the left, he's more there for defensive duty.
You see that he's a right-footed man on the left-hand side.
Yeah, and I think Auba's game is affected by that as well. I think, obviously, when Auba plays maybe with a Tierney down that left or a Saka, he's got an overlap. He's got someone that can hit it over the top to him as well. Whereas with Maitland-Niles, because of his right foot on that left side, it's like the ball over the top isn't there most time. He's got to cut back in. So I think Maitland-Niles right back and Tierney, a Saka left back would be ideal, but we know it's not going to happen.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because when you just made that Maitland-Niles point, it made me think when he's played right back, not that Pepe should be looking at other people to get the best out of him, but it seems like them, man, out of everyone, they've got the best partnership. It's like you rarely find a good game Pepe's had where if Maitland-Niles started, he hasn't also, and vice versa. We've got a message here before I forget. He's saying Tierney, Luiz, Gabriel, Holding, Bellerin. I assume against City.
You know what? Obviously Tierney in for Holding, and then I'd be playing Saka or Maitland-Niles left back if Bellerin is 30 on right back. If not, then you already know what it is. I'll play Maitland-Niles and Saka full backs, and Tierney joins in with Gabriel and Luiz. I think Holding is it's weird to say it a week after the transfer window's closed, but his time has been up. You know, he's always prone to a mistake or an error or a poor judgment in a game, and it just hasn't worked out. So go on. You're smiling like you might.
I gotta be devil's advocate, man, because I gotta say, like, you know, I agree with a lot of what you just said, but to play devil's advocate, he's been thrown a chance. You know, he's somewhat convinced Arteta. To be fair, he hasn't looked out of place so far this season. I know Arsenal fans, whether it's Holding, El Nene, you know, they get gassed on form and don't see the long picture. But could you say Holding's proven that there's a role here for him? There's a job here for him? Can he show he can improve? And because he has shown, before his injury, prolonged bits of form, and he has performed in big games. It's just consistency with him.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'll be honest. I don't think so, man. I think he's had the chances. It hasn't worked out. He's at an age now where he should have at least had one solid season under his belt. You're mid-20s now. If you haven't had that one solid season under your belt, then God only knows. You know, Wenger signed him, and he was cheeky with the signing about not all good defenders cost this much money.
Allow Wenger, man. He come on, man. Allow him.
He hasn't lived up to that. He had a manager that believed a hell of a lot in him, gave him a chance, you know, but he still hasn't lived up to it. So for me, Holding long term, he's not one for this club. I think we're going to have to do. Chambers is probably ahead of him for me in terms of when he comes.
I see why you say that. I see why you say that. He's probably more ahead in terms of naturally defending.
Yeah, naturally defending, and probably better on the ball too. Not that much better, I would say, but he's better on the ball. And I think Chambers offers more in terms of he can cover on the right side if you've got an attacking right fullback, yeah, that goes and joins the midfield on attack. I think with Chambers, he's more suited to slot in that right-sided role if he needs to cover. Whereas Holding, he will be ripped left, right, and centre if he's covering a right back role because he's not built for that.
So you reckon like this? You don't reckon he could be decent depth? Because I agree, man. I think he's part of these young players where they show a little bit of promise. They're not showing enough of consistency, but at the same time, he's English, the homegrown. And as when I remove my opinion, I look at how he played to a degree against Liverpool. He has done all right. It's like I'm looking at Gabriel Saliba, Marie signed permanently. You don't reckon Holding could be amongst the five? Like I agree, if an offer comes, I'm hearing everything, but we away from our own opinion.
I look around and I think like 4 centre backs is really what you need at a club, innit? And like you said, Gabriel, Saliba, and Mari, they're the new ones in, and they're the ones that in the not so distant future are going to be with us next 3-4 years at least. So that leaves one real role for depth. If you've got more than 4, then you're starting to look at, they're all reserves. They're people that have been here too long. So that 4th one, in my opinion, can't be Holding. He's tried, tested, failed. It can't be Chambers. Tried, tested, failed. Mustafi.
What about Mavropanos? I know he's out of sight, out of mind. He's on loan and that, but could he grab that?
Mavropanos, I don't know enough about him yet to make a judgment. All I know is that we've sent him out on loan twice now, and it looks like the only reason we signed that contract for him is so we've got some sell-on value. So we hold on to some of that value that he potentially had. If we cared enough about him to see if he's worthy of the Arsenal shirt, we would have kept him this year. I think that what better opportunity for a defender than this season to prove themselves, when in reality next season there's going to be such a outgoing of defenders.
Imbalance, even more question marks.
Yeah, so it's very important for all these centre-backs at the club to achieve and perform this season, because their long-term future at the club is actually up for grabs, in my opinion. Mustafi, Socrates, Luiz, they run out at the end of the season. I think Chambers and Holding, it's a big season for them, because if we're going to keep any, it's going to be one of them. So either one has to stand up and make themselves counted, which we'll see. I don't have the faith anymore. I'd like to see a 4th centre-back come in, some with some experience. You know who I'd love? Jose Jimenez.
Yeah, but the price tag, bro. That's my sort of defender, but that price tag. So yeah.
Find out what his release clause is and go to La Liga again behind closed doors. That would be the one, bro. If we could get that one in on top of because he's got the experience as well. With Gabriel and Saliba, they haven't really got that experience. Mari does, but not in the top leagues.
But we don't know his true level if we're real.
As Jimenez comes in, and Jimenez will be your starting one, and Jimenez can teach and protect others around him. So I think we need someone like that, but there's not a great deal of good defenders like that around. So for Arsenal to grab him is highly unlikely next year, especially like you said, the price tag and the teams that are rumoured to be interested.
I hear what you're saying about Jimenez, and I'd agree with you. If we had the money, I'd love to do it. But you see them, how we're talking about we'd like another defender and stuff. And I always mention, like, we'd all love wavy players, but I don't care if a man signed for 200 or 2 million. Don't you think we should be looking at the club? Because Edu's spoken about less scouts, more stat DNA. He's got the whole South American, Brazil thing, emerging market. Shouldn't we be looking at these sort of regions? And it's easy for me and you to say it because we're not doing it, but to find a little centre half in the same reason that we kind of went for Marie. Could you find a little 20, 25-year-old for a cut price that come do a job?
You can, because I said it last season. Ayhan, he was playing for Fortuna. That's obviously I know the Turkish man in it, so that is what it is. With Ayhan,
it is what it is.
He played for Fortuna Düsseldorf last season. They got relegated, but he is Turkey's first choice centre back. He was even starting ahead of Soyuncu last season. Just to give Premier League fans an idea, that Soyuncu was in Team of the Year last year, but Ayhan was starting ahead of him in most qualifiers for Turkey as a centre back. He's 25, going 26. He was at Fortuna Düsseldorf, and I think that would have been perfect experience, perfect age to come in, and mentality to come in. Maybe not set the world like Jimenez might, but he's an ideal fit for that depth role as well. And he went on to Sassuolo for like 3-4 mil. And I think for that price, the way Arsenal move, it made sense to bring him in. But it is what it is, obviously. I'm not the chief scout or whatever they want to call it.
What about my guy Ozil Kabach? Because I've kind of stopped watching him as he's gone to Germany. It's more like I was more onto him when he's at Gala. I see him playing in the Champions League, but he's still linked with Premier League clubs and whatnot. And whenever I do pay attention, he's still looking good. It seems like Turkey's got some centre halves. I don't know what's in the water over there, but yeah.
Kabak is hard, man. I can't lie. If anyone's got the highest ceiling out of Kabak, Soyuncu and Demiral, it's probably Kabak, because he's got pretty much all. You know, he's good on the ball, but he's the old school type of, he's old school type of defender in physical battles too, closing down, blocking, putting your body on the line. He's got all of that as well as some modern day attributes that centre backs need. I think he was rumoured to go Bayern were interested, Liverpool were interested this summer, and at 19 years of age, if these are the teams being linked with you, there must be something going on.
Must be something about you, innit? Must be something about you.
35 mil would have got him, but at the same time, the problem with us is we've signed Saliba and Gabriel. Bringing in Kabak, you'd have 3 young centre-backs, which I'm not going to be against, but it's not the best platform either.
You kind of need to look elsewhere. People, make sure you're smashing the like button. Smash it up. But we almost went away. Your centre mids for the City game.
I'm starting Partey, man, 100%.
That's what I wanted to get into. I mean, do you think he'll start?
I do. Obviously, I don't know Arteta enough as a manager to know how he plays these sort of things. If it was Wenger, we know he'd probably not start the first 3 games because Wenger likes to say they need time.
They need 6 months. And
we'll look across the road at these other teams playing their new signings from minute 1, banging, and you're thinking to yourself, Wenger, are you blessed? But we don't know Arteta enough to know. All I know is Partey has been playing football. He played for Atletico. He's played for Ghana. He's come back fit, ready.
No injuries. He's trained today.
Prime of his career, 27 years of age. Listen, strong, not only physically, but mentally too. I think it makes sense to start him. Throw him in at the deep end. He's not a youth man where you might risk damaging his reputation. Throw him in at the deep end and it either goes one of 2 ways. He does well and we've got a sign of things to come, or we get pumped and he has a sign of what to expect from this league.
He knows where we're at immediately.
Because he's going to, in a sense, he's in the deep end already because he's going from Atletico where every minute of the game is orientated around making sure your defensive structure and organization.
Making sure you're focused all the time.
Yes, A1, whereas you're going to a team where it's nowhere near A1. It's more open. So I'd like to see how he takes on that further responsibility because we're all looking at him. We didn't get the creative outlet. So you see a lot of people hyping up his creative side of things, which he has. But at the same time, we need him for the defensive side first.
Everything else is a bonus.
Exactly. Everything else will be a bonus. And everything else really should have come with Hassan Mawar or someone along that ilk. But it is what it is. I'll start Partey and I started with Ceballos in the middle.
Facts. I'd start him as well with Ceballos. I think it'd probably be Xhaka and Partey at our push, but I think, not that football is language matters, but him and Ceballos speak, they both speak Spanish, they both cover a lot of ground. Like you said, we're not being funny, but he's trained for Ghana, he's played for Ghana, he's played for Atletico. We knew the context we're buying him in, like we knew we was facing City, we knew this would be a thing. It's only a training thing. And Partey said, you know what, I'm ready, but if the manager doesn't want to play me, I understand. Arteta's sounding quite bullish as well. To be fair, again, him and Thiago are 2 different players, but Thiago barely trained at Liverpool and then he did not play against Chelsea. He did. I think Klopp was even saying he don't even know his teammates. So, it's football. It's not rocket science. You're just jumping on the field, you pass to the people in red. You don't pass to the people in blue. It's like, it's not complicated like some fans are carrying on.
That's what it is, man. It's been years of protection and years of wrapping people in cotton wool. All of this stuff about you need to let them bed in. You need to let. Nah, if he's a young player, I get that. But if he's an experienced international player that's played Champions League level for so long,
in that Atletico system, bro.
Yeah, minute 1, I expect to see him. I expect to see him there, no doubt about it. Look at even. For example, if Emery was in charge, we could say to ourselves that we know Emery would play him because you look at Pepe last year, Emery played him against Liverpool first game. And you think, oh shit, that was actually the first game and it was a big risk. We didn't win it. He did come out with some plaudits because I remember he took on Van Dijk and all that stuff.
No, Twitter fans went crazy with that.
Yeah. But with Emery, you can see that that's what he's about. With Arteta, we'll see now. Look at Gabriel. Gabriel got thrown in there and started. So I expect Partey to start 100. It doesn't matter if it's Man City. If it's Man City, that's more reason he should start. If it was a Burnley or something, then maybe you could argue that leave him out of this one, let him come on at half time, 60 minutes. But because it's Man City, give him that platform. Start at the top and let's see where we are at
I'm not being funny, but I agree 100% because mentally, even the young player thing, it's not really relevant for me because, he's played in El Clasicos where football is life or death. He's played in some hostile environments and some hostile teams. What is Man City? As you know, Man City barely have fans on the best of days, let alone when there's nobody in the stadium. So people are overcomplicating it. I have to play devil's advocate, bro, and say, I agree with you. Throw him in. We both know he's not the Messiah. He's going to have bad games. But when I say give him time, obviously want to see performances, but do we have to discount Partey a bit, bro? Because like you said, he's coming into a new league, a new team. There's a lot he probably has to take in as himself, like the culture shock a lot of these players say with the up and down pace of the league.
Yeah, okay, of course it is a culture shock. And like I said, it's going to be more than just a culture shock for fucking Partey because he's going from Simeone's well-drilled Atletico side to Arteta's Arsenal side. He's picking up the pieces from years of fucking mismanagement gone by. So it's the culture shock alone, plus that, it's going to be interesting to say the least. I think I want players with character and the mentality to tackle that head on. I want them to,
to relish it.
Yeah, see the challenge and take it, grab it with both hands kind of thing. And I see Partey as that type of signing. I don't see him as someone you need to keep out of the way.
I don't think he needs to be saved. So yeah, man, I think I speak for you when you say Ceballos and Partey get the nod. More, we've spoken about defense. We've got our midfield, and equaling headache is, who gets the front three positions? Who grabs them for you?
Front three, but my ideal front three has been the same for a while, but it's never been played. It's Pepe, Oba, and I'll put Saka left wing. If we're putting Maitland-Niles as right and left wing back, then I'll put Saka left wing. But we know that we're going to get Oba on the left, we're going to get Willian on the right, and probably Lacazette up top. That we know that's what's coming. I don't know why. I don't think it's the right balance. Maybe for the other parts of the game in terms of structure, organization, defense, Laka helps that up top. But in terms of getting the best out of your wingers, I don't think Laka's been doing that. And I don't think Eddie been doing that. No, I don't think he's been doing that, man. I think Oba's been quiet for a few games. I think Willian, obviously, after the first Fulham game, dead. In and out. I feel like as much as Laka is compared to Firmino at times, he's not doing what Firmino does. Lacazette works hard, and yes, he drops to collect the ball, and it allows the wingers to get round him. But he doesn't have that flick around the corner or that guile to turn a man.
That's deep. You reckon? That's deep. I think he's shown that this year. That's deep, bro. Laka. I see what you're saying.
He's got but he doesn't have the ability to find the man in between the lines or to do you know what I mean? He's got
I get you on that. Because I'll be real, bro. When I saw Eddie start last game, that's why I was saying Laka has to start, and Eddie needs to work on what he's doing without scoring. The little link ups, flash around the corner. I haven't seen that part of Eddie's game improve significantly. That's probably what makes it debatable as to if we go for a striker in the next year or two. To be fair.
We better go for well, I don't know. It's either we go for a striker or we put up top and go for a left winger or a backup for Saka, depending on what his long-term future. I'd like to see this season what the long-term future of Saka is, what position,
Try nail Saka down rather than floating.
What do you think long-term?
Saka.
Yeah.
Winger, man. I mean, you can't get. It's got to be a winger. You can't grab man at number 7 and he's not going to be on the left or the right. But I just think he's almost like James Milner. He's a victim of his versatility. He's young, he's intelligent, he's clearly very coachable. What kind of shags us is that we have to rely on him a bit more because me and you have spoken here and talking about playing him as a 10. We shouldn't have to. There should be that creative man. We're speaking about left back. If he's not a left back, we should have 2 levels left backs. So he's a victim, but. For me, it's a winger thing. But for this season, I can't lie. I'm all up for him. Like you said, playing him in that little hole, try to solve some problems at least till January.
Because you play him in that hole, it can provide good experience moving forward as well. The hole, you're going to get a lot more physical contact. You need to be more aware of what's behind you. When you're collecting it in the hole, just in front of the defense, defenders are going to come up tight. But when you're on the wing, you've got more space. So I think that would be a good learning curve for him if he was to be played there a bit more often throughout this season. If we was to go to a 4-3-3, I'm picking him as the point of attack. But like you said, for me, he's a left winger, and the balance Saka, Oba, Pepe for me works so well. You got a left-footed left winger, you got a left-footed right winger to cut in, and you got Oba who finishes his dinner. So
Scores goals.
Yeah.
Let me press you on Oba, man. Like, obviously, you mentioned playing him through the middle. Do you think Arteta wants to go to that car? Second half in our last game, you know, he stopped with it. He put Aubameyang up front and he kept everyone in their stationary positions. Do you think he'll want to do that next year? Or I say next year, next couple of games moving forward?
I think he has to experiment with it, man. I think like the safe option has been to play him on the left because he works hard as well. Not only does he provide on the attack, he helps the one behind him. But if you want to grow, if you want to start developing more, you can't be looking at your star men and utilizing them to suit others. You should be utilizing your star man, in the position and the best place on the pitch for him. Not because the guy behind him might be a bit poor, so let's play him there, or not because
Give him some protection.
Yeah, for me, it needs to start coming in, and the more Lacazette misses chances like he did against Liverpool, the more Eddie fails to get on the end of chances, the more I'm going to ask the question of it should be Oba, because like you said last game, you saw it change, and you saw the game change with it. You know, it was a little tactical change. Pepe comes on with a bit more, offensive authority. He wants to take man on. Oba slots in a little bit more, causes problems. Then you start seeing a bit more free-flowing football, a bit more balance to the attack.
Facts.
But at the same time, I get it. He's playing him there because we haven't got someone that can work hard there. Maybe Saka, for example, young man, you're going to ask too much of him potentially to do that position well back and forward.
And you mentioned free-flowing football. For me, I think that could be achieved, but with the following players, I think you go Oba through the middle, you go Pepe on the right, you go Saka on the left. You know, me and you are a bit hot and cold on Willian, and rightly so, but I'd even say Willian into that 10, because for me, I like it by nature. I like interchanging movements. With excluding Aubameyang, I want to see these players swapping flanks. I want to see the 10 going out wide, and I think that can only be achieved with these players because they're quick thinkers.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that. If we go to that formation, then that would be my 4 as well. That would be the.
Sorry, bro. He's saying for this because we got a super chat. I know I've missed some other super chats. Apologies, people. We'll get back to it. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. But Sieta said, "Big up, bros. I would play 3-5-2. Saka as a number 10. Lacazette, Aubameyang strikers. Maitland-Niles, Ceballos, Partey, Tierney. Holding Luis Gabriel would be my 11. What's you guys' thoughts?"
You know what? It sounds good on paper, but to me, it reminds me of 2 years ago, first year under Emery, when we lacked width. That formation to me says we'll play it. We might do well at times, but at other times we'll be crying out for the wingers. We'll be crying out for someone to run in behind on the flanks. So for me, it does look good on paper, but we've got Pepe. We've got, in essence, one of the best attacking wingers from Europe last season. Well, the season
he's one of the best 1v1 players in the Prem. You know, it is what it is. Like,
I want to see if he works at this club first, and to change to a formation that doesn't utilize wingers enough right now wouldn't give him the best platform. So this season, I'm not saying that's wrong, but this season I want to see wingers. I want to see transition, fluidity, interchange in positions. I want to see all of that. So I'd stay off from that from now, but it's an interesting proposal. What about you? What do you think?
It's like you said, on paper, it sounds decent. There's a bit of stability. Then the 11 you've named are quite good. Obviously, any potential lack of creativity, you've got Lacazette and Aubameyang. But as you said, Turkish, it's going to live or die by the flanks. You're going to be probably over-relying on Bukayo Saka in real time if we was actually playing. So I'm not really a fan of that. Like you again said, Emery, I'm getting nightmares. We were very narrow. We're playing creative man in them wide positions. I'm not really on it. I just want to play 4-3-3. By nature, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. You play your attackers and you do that. The Prem is not about this sitting back stuff. Leicester and Leeds, they got results against City because they stopped sitting back in them games. And I just think we've got that handbrake up too much, especially if we're not going to improve too much defensively. Let's attack a bit more because we're not playing to our full potential in that regards.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why it's a double-edged sword for Arteta, man, because we all know, we were crying out for some more stability defensively. First and foremost, that we wanted quality, but we needed stability first. And I think he's provided that stability in a similar way in a better way, but in a similar way that Emery did as well, in terms of utilizing different players in different positions to get the best out of them. And it's working because we're getting the results. And like I said, it's a better way because we are getting better results under Arteta than we did under Emery. But the next step is, how do you change that stability to transition? And
what we're about now, what we want to put our mark in the team as.
Exactly. It's all good and well setting up like this against the big teams and finding it tough against the smaller teams. But until we sort out that attack and the balance and the fluidity of it, we're in for a season full of that again. I mean, it's going to be frustrating. It's frustrating that we talk about the attack because for so many years, even in our work period, our attack has been on point. We were scoring goals for fun.
We were top heavy. Now we're nothing. Like, we're just imbalanced everywhere, really.
Now it's just a case of all hands on deck. Let's just make sure the stability is and organization is there, and we'll add to it here and there. That's why the transfer window was so important for me, man. Like he brought us stability, he brought us a direction, and we couldn't bring him, or the board couldn't bring him the players we need. Let's be honest.
Every goal the man needed to do this season, you know, we're gassed about Partey, and rightly so, but he's only one man. Partey's irrelevant if we, like you said, we can't break down teams. And I'll take what you said one step further, and it's almost not that I'm criticizing Arteta, but you see them 19 pass moves we're doing. For me, they're great, they're amazing. I ain't taking nothing away from it. But why are we looking at that in isolation? Why is that only happening at a certain period? We should be doing that from the start, sort of thing. We should be making our mark. And for me, I don't mind, like you said, the stability, the three at the back, all of this, I don't mind it. But if I was to play devil's advocate, you look at Man City, it don't matter if they're playing 3 or 4, whatever, 5, you know they're still trying to go forward. So why is it we're immediately having negative connotations just because we're playing 3 or 5 at the back? Admittedly, I want 4-3-3, but why is it that? And that's for Arteta. Really?
Yeah, it is, man. It is for Arteta. Like, I completely get what you're saying too, because even the goals we score against these big teams over recent games, it's more a case of listen, there's playing out the back, and we have scored some great goals recently in terms of transition. Yeah, but they're off the back of an enhanced press. They're off the back of enhanced pressure. It's not playing at the back where we are drawing in the man. It's the man is coming into us, and we have to do what we have to do. I want to start, and that's a reactive. I'd say it's reactive goals and reactive.
We need to be proactive
rather than a proactive transition. A proactive transition. Now, Arteta early on when he came in, one of the players, I think it might have been Holding or Xhaka, one of them ones. They said that Arteta said to us, "Don't release the ball until a player is within touching distance of you. Draw them in first." That's the proactive approach I'm talking about. Proactive means you're on the ball, you see the player coming, but you know you're confident enough to get it around the player at a tight position. So he comes in, you get it around. That's proactive. Whereas at the moment, even with the goals you scored, it looks like we're under pressure so much, we're reacting to the pressure and we're getting out of it well, which does bode well because we're reactive. You have to be quick thinkers, and that bodes well. But if you really want to start making progress, it's not about being reactive, it's about being proactive. None of the best clubs in the world, the biggest clubs in the world, want to change their style of play for anyone. You know, when you're at the pinnacle, like Bayern Munich, for example, Bayern Munich will not change their style of play against anyone because they feel their style of play is the best. They feel like they don't need to change it. Even if a team comes to press them, they don't need to change it up that much. They can tweak it, but they're confident in their style. And that's why they're proactive. And you look around at many other clubs, Atletico, to a lesser extent, they're confident in their style. They're proactive. Yeah, they might not be proactive passing out the back, but they're proactive with their defensive structure, organization, shape, and all of that stuff. And all the big clubs are proactive. None of them are reactive. So until we start doing what you said, it's going to be the same.
Would you say we are being proactive though? Because let's just, again, I love doing the devil's advocate thing. You know, where on the, for instance, you know, I agree with you in the big game. I mean, in the smaller games, what you need to do, but in the big games, could you say we know they're going to press us, keep calm, play under pressure, and gaps will open, sort of thing?
Now, yeah, we have to do that now. You know, we have to do that now. But it's the games against the lesser teams, the smaller teams that we should flex our muscles against. Take a bit more risk. I can understand not taking the risks against City, Liverpool, and them teams there, but I can't understand that not taking the risks against West Ham, Sheffield United, or them teams there.
Even three at the back against Fulham, really. But I've left this super chat. Someone's trying to stick it on us. I've been airing it. He says he doesn't understand Saka playing in the hole, and in the same breath, we want Aubameyang to play down the middle. Can we play players in their best positions? my opinion on this is, yeah, you're right. I want players to play in the best positions, but me and Turkish both have clearly stated Saka, we want him on either flank in the attacking third. With what's happening, whether it's injuries or our lack of creativity, then we need Saka to do it. You know, Willian is probably not a natural 10, but we need to consider playing him in that role. So while we want people in their natural roles, you know, we're kind of pressed in other positions. So Saka's forced to get there. It's not that we're being hypocrites. It's like they're two different sort of situations, really.
Yeah. We both said that we needed creativity in the middle. That means that even though we are saying that we might see Saka in the middle, it's because we lack the creativity there. Ideally, if we had Aouar, it would be Ober up top, Saka on the left, Pepe on the right, and Aouar behind. That would be the four. But because of the way we are right now, and because of the fact, what attackers do we have, throughout the whole squad that can pick it up in the hole confidently and turn on either foot aside from Saka?
Exactly. Ozil, and he's not involved, so he's irrelevant. Joe Willock is hot and cold. You know, Willian can do it, but Arteta clearly wants him right wing. You know, Ceballos can do it, and maybe that's another question now with Partey. But we have to fix it in-house, at least for these 2.5 months. And that includes considering playing Saka there. Because like you saw, against Sheffield, when him and Willian were doing that swapping thing, they're running riot.
Yeah, 100%. We don't know where his best position yet. Like I said, number one, it will be left wing, and number two, I'm interested to see how he does perform in the hole in attacking mid. I mean, look at West Ham. The two key passes came from picking it up just in front of the defence. Look at the Liverpool Community Shield game. Saka was causing problems in front of the defence. So for me, if I'm looking at the squad we have and the potential of moving into a 4-3-3, then I'd like to see Saka there, because even for his development on the wing, it could help him.
Exactly.
That's how it is. So yeah.
That's how it is, you know. What I see from him playing in the 10 role is, like you said, it's helping your development. More time, your backs to go, it's tight spaces. So when you get that ball on the flanks, you know, there might now be space, but can you make a decision quickly? I see Aubameyang running, let me cross it, or nobody's there, let me pull it in. It's these sort of things, man. Moving away from that though, man, we've spoken about the lineup and stuff in relation to City, but what do you expect from the game against City, bro? Like going into it, what do you expect? Like, what do you want to come out with? What's the best scenario, excluding obviously winning?
I think we can win, because you see City can be got at. You know, this is a game where, you know what, this is a game where I don't think we should set up the same way we set up against Liverpool, where we're on the back foot and we need to pick them off. I think you can take the game to this City side. They haven't got the confidence they've had over the last few seasons, the title-winning teams. It looks like they're missing a couple things, not just one thing. It looks like they're missing a couple things, and
wounded as well.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, they're gonna be, like, they're well ahead of us. They're much better than us, but we can beat them. And they're Kevin De Bruyne potentially out.
I think they're gassing with that one. I think he'll be fit. You know, these City man are. They'll, you know, he'll take his tablets and he'll be fit, man. I hope he's not, but I think he'll be there still.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a tough game. I'd just like to. What it is, I'd like to see us go for it. You know, I'd like to see us go for it and see where we're at. But at the same time, if we're bringing in Partey, maybe going for it isn't the best option. Maybe you want him to slot into this current system of hesitancy, and that's what I'd call it. So I want to see us take more risks, Deluded, man. I want to see us attacking them. I want to see us pressing them. I want to see us being proactive in this game, even if it's in the first half or in parts. I want to see it at some point.
I agree, man. That's why I like speaking to you, because we see football differently, but you also see it a similar way. Like you said, City are miles up. You know, City on their worst day would cry for our team to be like that. But football's, at the end of the day, it's a basic game. You go out there, you have an opportunity. I agree. Forget this sitting back stuff. Obviously, be sensible. We can't go toe to toe with them, but let's have a goal, man. Let's actually believe in ourselves. And for me, it's all about the credibility in the performance, because I'm still sour about the Etihad, you know, not that we lost. It's the fact that we lost 3-0 and we gave them 3 goals. They didn't have to work. They were 3 easy goals. So I want to, like you said, I don't mind if we play 3 at the back, but it's intention for me. I want to see us play players in their best positions. Let's actually have some fun. Let's knock the ball around. Let's not sit and admire how great their players are and how well class and top class they are in that.
Yeah, we need to find out what we need as much as find out if we can do that, you know. Like, obviously, like I said, it's going to be another season where we're finding holes in the team because we haven't done enough. So let's see. The sooner we start moving into a proactive approach, the sooner we know how far we are from the end goal. Because doing all of this right now, there's going to be a mini transition when we do try and change to a 4-3-3, or we do try and do something different, because it's not the usual. And I want that mini transition out the way as soon as possible, because there's no point in playing 3 at the back the whole season if your idea is to go 4. I expect at least halfway through to start seeing that 4 at the back and 3 in the middle. That's what I expect to let us run into summer next year and find out what we are lacking.
Do you think our players are maybe brainwashed ain't the right word, but brainwashed into this 3 at the back thing now? Because I remember when, to be fair to Wenger and Emery, not that I'm backing them, and it's happened under Arteta, although I can't specifically remember the games. When we have switched to a back 4 again, it does look a bit like players are unsure, like centre half still think they're in a back 3. You know, fullbacks are still caught up a bit high. You know, you should be able to play multiple systems as a footballer, but do you feel they're a bit brainwashed now with this 3 at the back thing?
Brainwash is, I don't know. Brainwash is probably not the right word for me.
Yeah, it's the right word.
Comfortable, and which is probably something to do with the brain. You know, when you know that you've got the cover, you know, when you know that body's there, you know you can take that extra risk, or you know you can do that thing that you might not normally do, or you know that the mistake you're due to make, which you normally do, might be covered. Whereas if you're in a back 4, you're a lot more nervous. Well, these players are a lot more nervous because in back 4s gone by, they've crumbled. You know, they've been made to look like fools in the past, a couple of these players. Luckily, there's been major changes and we've got new players in like Tierney and Gabriel and Saka and whatnot in the defence. But there's still players there that have commonly let us down in the past that this formation accommodates for. Let me give you an example. Bellerin and Xhaka. Bellerin and Xhaka.
Maitland-Niles even back 3. And I don't want to say it, but there's a lot of talk as to he looks better in a 3 than a 4.
Yeah. But in terms of first teamers in the past few years that have been tried, tested, and picked out, I think Xhaka and Bellerin in the 4s at the back, in the 3s in the middle, have been exposed because they haven't got the all-round capability to perform their roles. Hence why Arteta all of a sudden went to a back 3. Because not only do you start cutting out the midfield in a sense in transition, you start giving Bellerin more responsibility on the other end. Okay, defensively, you're not the best. You don't close down like you should. Get up there then, support the attack as a wing back. That's part of your job too. So I think this formation suits a few of the players that have let us down over the years. And it's those players that need to be replaced before maybe going into the new formation. So I don't know.
Bro. Can't add anything to that, exactly what you said. And that's what I mean by, I think Arteta's got a handbrake. It's just he knows this squad, while we've made some progress and made some additions, it's just not levels. Who's been your player of, I don't want to say month because we've been over a month, but with Gabriel got, for instance, named September's player of the month. Who's been your top 4 performers, if any, or top 3 over the course of the season so far?
So far, Gabriel's definitely in the top 3. I don't think I could rank a 3 in terms of 1, 2, 3, but I'll say a top 3. I think Gabriel. I think you have to say Lacazette for 3 and 4.
Yeah, you can't take that away from, man.
Yeah, maybe not so much the performance, but productivity wise. And
I'd throw Saka personally.
Who's that?
I'd throw Saka. For me personally, I'd throw Saka in there. I think he's taken every chance he's been given, really.
Yeah, potentially Saka. Yeah, the third one's a tough one. Potentially Saka, potentially Leno. For me, I think he's come back. I'm not saying he's been amazing, but he's come back in after facing criticism and doubts, and he's performed well and he's made a lot of good saves. So I think Gabriel and Laka are probably the top of the picks, and then you can fit in a Saka or a Leno in third.
You know, maybe behind them, I'd throw in Holding. Like, not necessarily Ceballos too, like someone just said. I'd throw in Holding purely because, like you said with Lacazette, I've looked at Holding in the chances he's been given, and whether my opinion on you or not, you ain't really done anything wrong. Like, even against Liverpool, I don't think he was that bad. Like, I was looking at that space Mane was going to get into, and I think he switched off. But I think it was more Bellerin and Willian that was struggling. So I wouldn't say he's up there, but a little sort of shout out thing.
I'd say El Nene, actually.
Yeah, dash him in there. Again, another one, opportunities taken.
True, yeah, because no one expected anything of him. Everyone's vexed. And I'm not saying he's given us anything, but he's shown us that he's not like the worst of the bunch. He's shown us that he can perform to the same level the rest of the people around him have done. We need better, but I think El Nene's been a little surprising addition into the middle.
Just a calm, you know what? And it's up to him because that Torreira going presents a little opportunity for him to make a play in the squad, because I think every player wants to play, but I think El Nene would concede. You know, Partey is going to play ahead of me. Xhaka's manager favourite. Ceballos is going to play ahead of me. But them Europa Leagues, them benches, rotation, if I earn it, there might be game time for me here.
Yeah, listen, when Mo, I don't know if I was doing FTV when he was playing for us regularly, but when Mo was at the club, I always said there's no real difference between El Nene and Xhaka. Like, there's differences in style of play, but there's no differences in terms of impact from El Nene and Xhaka. I mean, they both do the bare minimum, and they both have average games more often than not. You know, I just feel like El Nene, his reputation's been hard done by, but at the same time, I like the fact that he's moved and taken loans to try and move forward. I think that he would have moved on this year if Arteta didn't tell him he was needed, whereas other players, they dig their heels in and they remain at the club and show little ambition. I think credit to El Nene for moving on and trying to do something with his career, and credit to the way he started this season. But obviously, like you said, Partey coming in, El Nene's further down the pecking line, Xhaka, in my opinion, further down the pecking line. But who knows? You said Xhaka and Partey will probably be the one. I think Ceballos and Partey.
I hope that's the one you just said. I hope that's the one. I just feel, I don't know. Will Arteta, like, I don't know why Xhaka is favoured by all these gaffers. You know, they all know more ball than me. I don't think Xhaka's a bad player, but there's got to be a reason as to why he's always playing. And I want to see this season, is he going to thingy? Is he going to be the first manager to kind of remove the Xhaka handbrake, to somewhat take him out of the team with Partey? Because, you know, when you I don't know why, but when you think of Xhaka, you don't really think of the defensive arts of midfield. You think of more going forward, and sadly defensively for Partey. But I don't see what Xhaka can give that Partey can't. So what I'm getting at is, you know, Xhaka is no longer giving something in the team to justify his inclusion. You know, it could be Partey and Ceballos. So I'm keen to see this season, if this is the first season we kind of rub out Xhaka like that and make him a squad player.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Partey does everything Xhaka does, but better, literally. And I think the only midfielder we have that does something different or better than what Partey can do is Ceballos. And by that, I mean the way the technical ability on the ball, the left-right shoulder turn, the spins, the jinx, all of that. I think that's why you partner him with Partey. I feel like that's potentially the little area that Partey doesn't excel in, but you put Ceballos next to him and it releases a whole new beast, in my opinion, because Ceballos, I've expected a lot more from him. You know, like him coming in from Real with the reputation he did as a youngster and his ambitions and what he was saying. Last season was poor, and this season it started off poor, in my opinion, as well, because he hasn't stood out compared to Xhaka or El Nene.
That's deep, bro. I think Ceballos been calm this season. You're on him still.
Calm is I'd say calm, but like, we shouldn't be settling for calm. You know?
Yeah.
What he can bring and what we thought he could bring, was different.
Different.
See it yet. If anything, he just about stands out ahead of Xhaka and El Nene in a game. When in reality, you know, ability-wise, he should be 2-3 of them every game. So I think that the Partey thing might release Ceballos a bit more, and hopefully it does, and then we can solve that creativity issue in-house.
Do you see Ceballos playing more? Because we spoke about it earlier, but do you see Ceballos playing in that 10 role? Do you see Ceballos potentially getting more goals and assists, potentially solving the imbalance in our midfield as a result of playing further forward, with assuming Partey coming into the lineup?
You know, I don't like Ceballos in the number 10, you know. I thought last season I thought last season, obviously, when he first come, give him a goal there because we lack in that position. But when he was given goals, he didn't stand out there either. And I don't know if it's big, whether he's a bit too big for it. I don't know. I haven't checked, but when I look at him on the pitch, he just doesn't look like he suits the number 10 physically. I just feel like you need someone with a bit more guile in there. Ceballos at times, very skillful, very technical, but he rushes sometimes. Like, more often than not, he rushes things. Whereas in the number 10 attacking mid, you need someone that's got a calm head in the most panicky moments. And I don't think Ceballos is that guy. I think obviously Ozil had that in abundance. You know, you could have 3 men around Ozil. He wouldn't really panic. He'd get the ball through. He'd get it to the right man. That's what I mean. Composure. I don't feel Ceballos has that composure to play it well enough. But centre mid, he can do it all. But will he do it is the question.
That's the thing. Like, I don't think, for what it's worth, I don't think, and I don't know it, but I don't think Arteta's. I think if anything, it's going to be a flat midfield three, whether that's Xhaka or Ceballos or Partey or whoever. El Nene is another thing. I don't think there'll be a 10. But I agree with what you said about Ceballos. I think my opinion on Ceballos coming to this club, I've seen a good player technically, but I see why you're not playing at Madrid and why you're not taking it to the next level, because I don't think he plays in the areas where he hurts the opposition. I think this season there's been an improvement, but he's playing, he's receiving it off the centre halves and doing turns. He's losing it on the edge of our area. He plays a bit too much in areas that aren't going to hurt people. But I guess by midfield terms, he's still kind of young, but I need him to get some goals and assists. I'm not looking at him to get 10 and 10 and do all the things. I don't think he's got it. I just feel at a push, even with Partey. The one thing is now we're looking at it from an attacking sense. Like you said, locking it down defensively is one thing, but we've got to get goals and assists. We've got to score goals.
Yeah, that's it. So I expect to see the improvement. This is I've said it for the past 2 years. This is another massive year where players that have failed to prove themselves in the last few seasons have got another chance. That's a lifeline. It's a lifeline for Xhaka. It's a lifeline for Bellerin. You got lifelines for a lot of players in there. We've from Willian a lifeline from another club. Like we've given a lot of lifelines. Where we need to see Ceballos as a lifeline, because at the end of the day, it wasn't going his way last season at Real Madrid. He didn't think it would go his way, so he came to us. He done it again this season. So all these lifelines have got to give us life in return, and we'll see come the end of the season whether they do.
Speaking of birthday, speaking of lifelines, his birthday boy Mesut Ozil. Happy birthday, Mesut. Do you think he's actually played his last game of the season? I had to do it.
Swear down, it's his birthday today.
Yeah, it's 32 today.
Oh, swear down, bro. Yashkulun Kutlosun. I thought, let me give him a happy birthday in Turkish, man. Why not?
Do you think he's played his game for us? For real?
Yeah, man. He's played his last game, man. He played his last game, man.
Don't sound too happy about it, mate.
Yeah, his last game, it is what it is. He made his bed, as they say. He made his bed, and now he can lie in it.
It's true, man. It's almost an hour in, people. Give us one more question. That'll probably tick us over to the 1 hour mark before we get out of here. Yeah. What other questions we got, man? Come on, get them in. What do you think of Project? Well, I keep forgetting what it's called. Is it Project Big Start or whatever? It's been rejected by the Premier League.
Big picture.
Yeah, big picture. Yeah.
It's greed, man. It's greed. You heard about it with the Super League and stuff like that. I don't like it. As much as Arsenal are one of the clubs that are going to hold power, I don't like that. I think, bro, when I was growing up, fam, these teams hated each other. Proper rivals, yeah?
Now they're linking up to shake.
Owners are in cahoots and having team biscuits and all that and behind closed doors. Like, I'm not on that, blood. I'm not on linking up with Chelsea and United and City and Liverpool to run the league. I'm not on that. I want to run the league myself through winning
doing stuff on the football field, not by doing these fancy things in the boardroom.
Trust me, the way when others look at England and football, they look at Liverpool, they look at Man United, and then they look at Arsenal. In terms of English football, we've run the league in terms of titles domestically, European, Liverpool, Man United. This doesn't need to come. It's run the right way how it is. I'd say you still need to keep a governing body that's neutral. You have to maintain that. And some of the ideas I like, some like that, going down to 18 teams, I'm not opposed to that. Scrapping the League Cup, I'm not opposed to that. But what I'm opposed to is running the leagues and being the sole voters and all that. I'm not on that, even as an Arsenal fan. I think they'll just further manipulate and further take the club away from us even more so, I feel sorry, fam. I feel sorry. Even though the league clubs won it and Rick Parry has backed it, I think it just, it stinks of
fat envelopes, man.
Entitlement, and does it surprise you when you look at Fenway, you look at Kroenke, and you look at all these owners, and you think, I'll be interested to hear what Roman has to say about it. I hope one day we find that, because I don't think Roman's one that would like to hook up with these men either.
Do you see that as one step further to like a Super League or breaking away from the Premier League and having top six in the Prem? Big boys in France, Italy, Spain, wherever. Yeah,
man, it does look like it's headed down that way. I hope they do it right, because I'm not opposed to a Super League, but it can't be in comparison to the Premier League, or it can't dilute the Premier League. Like right now, we have a competition on one hand, the Premier League, and we have a Champions League on the other hand, where it's like that's the pinnacle and that's the pinnacle. They're both pinnacles, you know. But if you bring a European Super League in, I'm scared that the pinnacle will be the European Super League and the Premier League will be just below it, and you just start diluting it. Right now, you've got two pinnacles: the English League or the European Champions League. You bring in a Super League, it's like, do I care about playing the Burnleys and the Aston Villas? Or do I care about the league where we're playing the Barca's, the Juventus's, the Bayern Munich's? People are going to naturally gravitate towards that league, and it dilutes the Premier League. So I want them I said it last week. I said I'd rather Arsenal win the Premier League next because I like to dominate domestically first before Europe.
Europe.
That's my thing. It's like a ladder. Even though I put them equally in Premier League and Champions League, I think
you got to bully your country before you bully other countries, sort of
thing. So even Arsenal entering the European Super League, do we fucking deserve to be in the European Super League? We don't fucking deserve that. Based off of football, we do not deserve to be in no European Super League in the next 2-3 years. But because of our weight, because of our owner, because of the money,
because of the
all it's about is the money. Then we'll be in. Yeah, that's the only way we'll be in, and it's not right. That's not morally right.
You said it. It's not morally right. It stinks of a lack of integrity. Football, for me, football is the one game. I know it's got elitists and whatnot, but it's the one game where it don't matter the color of your skin, your gender, whatever. If you got a ball and you're better than the next team, you win, sort of thing. And you made a great point about diluting, because for me, again, I'm not the most clued up and I don't know how it was structured, but let's just say there's this. How would it work? Because you'd have this big league of everybody. Is the Champions League still going to run? If it runs like in conjunction at the same time, what happens then? Which trophy does the manager go, you know what, is that better? Some fans will say the one where all the big boys are in. Some people say the Championship. Which one's more prestigious than the other? It doesn't make sense, really and truly.
Yeah, I don't like that, man. I don't like that. I grew up, the Premier League is the one, and the Champions League is the one European-wise. Don't make two leagues where now people are going to start comparing it. Keep the Champions League a tournament format, and make it work that way. I don't want to see the league where you're playing each other twice a year and all that stuff. I want to see it different. It's a tournament. It's not a league. It's a tournament, and keep it like that.
Facts. Last question, and I saw just because it came off the screen. Someone said, when Martinelli comes back from injury, where do you see him playing?
Depends, man. Depends. If Martinelli comes back and Oba's up top, then I see him potentially left wing with Saka fighting for that. But if Oba's still on the left wing when he comes back, I think Martinelli should be given a chance up top, because we need to know sooner or later where he's going to fit in, because Oba's only got 3 years and that's our goal scorer gone. So we need to find the plan. Well, not the plan B needs to become the plan A when Oba goes. And in my opinion, right now, if we look at our squad, Martinelli is the plan B. So let's see how we can make him the plan A.
And it's like what you said. Like you said, we've got to see how we can make him the plan A. I think, with Eddie and Nketiah getting opportunities, with Martinelli and Lacazette's future, it's interesting to see who is going to be that backup striker in the short term. If Lacazette's playing on the left wing, who plays? For me, I just want Martinelli to come back. I want him to play. I just want him to further give Arteta a headache. Like, we've got headaches now. Does he go with Pepe? He seems to be persistent with Willian. How long can he do that with? We've got young Saka. You've got Aubameyang, whatever, cool, we don't like it. We just need good problems. They've all got different strengths, and I don't mind it. But like you said, long term for me, he's a striker. I see Alexis Sanchez. That season, he got 20 for Arsenal. I see that in young Martinelli. He's his own player, but that's what I see in him. Honestly,
definitely a mix of that and Suarez. I see a lot of different qualities in Martinelli, and I've got very high hopes for him. So I do hope he starts fitting in when he comes back. But I also understand his age, and similar with Saka and Arteta with Saliba, the way Arteta's been playing these youngsters is in and out. It's not too much pressure, and it's the right thing to do. Before Martinelli got injured, people was like, why is Arteta not starting Martinelli? Why is he not playing? It's because of that exactly. We shouldn't be crying out and shouting for Martinelli to be playing and starting and this and that, because he's not old enough yet. He hasn't got everything required to perform at the level we're going to expect. Because on one hand, we're going to cry for him to play. On the other hand, we're going to cry when he makes mistakes or when he doesn't do things right. There's a balance there, and I think Arteta's got that right with Saliba, Saka, and Martinelli so far, which is credit to him as a manager.
Like you said, I think fans lack balance, because it's Gabriel. Gabriel is playing well, having a great season, but it's only 1-2 months in a 4 or 5 year contract. He's gonna make mistakes. Like I can already see one mistake that's gonna happen. Touch wood, it doesn't. You know, against Fulham and against Sheffield, he has done that under hit pass, and you know there was a talking point if Luis should be sent off. It more looked like Leno's fault at Fulham. But you know, one day, you know, third time he does that, that's conceding a goal. Like Kolasinac with that poor pass for Luis against Spurs. You know, I think we get excited. You know, put too much expectations. Not even expectations. It's just we allow the excitement to just let people put some mad perception of guys on them, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Look at United, for example. There's an argument that Greenwood, I'd probably say Greenwood is probably the best young talent in the country, yeah, in terms of team.
Strong claim for that.
But United fans in the United hierarchy were still going all out or trying to go all out for Sancho this summer, who plays in Greenwood's position at the moment. And why is that? Because it's not, it's not the and striker, but it's not the time for Greenwood to be having the pressure related to starting week out. So that's why they've gone for that. Whereas us, you know, we need to realize that these Sakas, Martinelli's, Ceballos, they need an arm around their shoulder. And I'm a very critical, ruthless fan. So for me to agree that these players need an arm around their shoulder, it's part and parcel of the game, you know. And I think that, like, I'm going to reiterate, Arteta's done very well in the way he's managed them so far.
Somebody said, have you wished happy birthday? He already did that, my guy. Already did that, man. But I think we've gone on longer than we've needed to, man. We really have. It's been a fantastic stream. You know, you got any streams planned today? I know you're a busy guy and you do a lot of evening streams. Yeah,
I'm gonna do my Man City preview tonight because I got the Rants thing tomorrow. I'm gonna bring out the schedule's getting tight, fam. You know better than I do, bro. Like, I'm bringing out the Man City preview today. I usually do it 24 hours before the game, but because I got the Rant show tomorrow, I'll do that. So today about 7 p.m. I'll be live for the Man City preview. Tomorrow about 6 p.m. with Rants, and then Saturday midday maybe starting with Deluded. I'll see how it runs. I need to do shopping for my nan on that Saturday morning. So that's my thing. You see, sometimes when you're in the gym Saturday, I'm doing my thing for my nan. So sometimes it doesn't work out, but we'll try and make it happen. Yeah. What about you? Anything else planned?
No, today, you know, I'll probably drop some videos. I'm gonna look at what Arteta said on Partey. That'll probably be about it. You just reminded me about that preview, and I don't want to do that tomorrow, so I'm probably just gonna smash that out today, and then I'm done until, you know, we sadly play against City, man.
Yeah. Come on. 5:30 Saturday, I like.
Yeah. I'll probably, you know, I might do a watch along for that still. I don't know yet, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I can't lie. There's so many watch alongs now. Yeah, I just feel like, lads, it's people to do like there's like 5-6 options, fam. It's like, are they really gonna want to watch the game? Man?
That's what I thought, bro. But then I thought they did, man. Like, even with the subscribers, like a lot of these names, I see them when I do it, and I'm like, rah, like they just want to watch the game with, man. So if nothing more, you know, that's pretty damn cool on that, man.
Well, if you do a watch along and I'm not doing that, and just send me the link, I'll log in for like 10-15 minutes.
Say nothing, man. Say nothing.
Come on, G. But yeah, love people, man. Make sure you hit the like button and all that stuff.
Exactly. You lot have been slacking in that. Make sure you abuse the like button before you get out of here. But me and Turkish are keeping it moving, folks.
Come on, people. Love.